From the octagon fire to the studio mics, tune in weekly, we're dropping the spikes, analyzing every punch, every kick that lands, maniacs in the game, playing with fans' demands. Ken's got the insight, Joe's got the flair, mapping out the fights will take you anywhere. So grab your popcorn, buckle up tight.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
What's up, guys? We're back. Had a little hiatus. You know, life happens. And, sometimes we got to roll with the punches. So, but we're back. And what a big week to be back, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
You know, I was really, man, it sucks we couldn't have a show last week to really, like, talk about this Strickland-Chimaev fight. But nevertheless, I mean, the Strickland-Chimaev fight happened. And, oh, dude, like, so on Friday, I was at jiu-jitsu I was at my kids' jiu-jitsu class, right? And then after the kids, they have an adult evening class. So all the guys were coming in, you know, I'm saying what's up to the guys, whatever. And we're talking about me and Professor were talking about the fight, and I was like, dude, I think Strickland's gonna win. And literally every one of the guys in my academy that was there, literally everyone was like, no. Like, one of them comes up to me, he's like, why don't you put your 401k on it? And I was like, well, first of all, I don't have a 401k. And second, I don't gamble, bud, but thanks anyway, right? So Saturday, I'm at Costco, and I happen to see one of the guys I train with, and he's like, yeah, dude, we're having a UFC party at my house, this and that. And he's all, you never know, man, like, you might be right. Like, but it was one of those things where it's like he's just trying to be friendly, like, you know what I mean? No, he's totally cool. Like, he's a cool cat. Like, I appreciated the gesture, but it's like, I could still tell, like, come on, bro. Like, everybody's like riding the Hamzat train, and that's fine, dude. Like, I'm not afraid to stand on my own too. You know, I said I felt like Strickland was going to win, and we'll get into why I felt like Strickland was going to win. But Strickland ends up winning, and when that decision got announced, dude, I jumped off my fucking couch, dude. My wife's like, why are you so excited? Because I'm not like the biggest Strickland fan in the world, you know what I mean? Like, I like Strickland. You know, he's an excellent fighter, but he's not.
I'm about there with you. Like, Strickland ain't my favorite fider by any means, but I do like the guy. Just like I liked Hamzat too. I like
Hamzat too, but I jumped off the couch because I was like, man, it's going to be a good day at the gym on Monday, bro. When I walk in, I'm going to take a fucking victory lap, you know? So sure enough, I walk in on Monday, and the guy who was like, hey, why don't you put your 401k on it? He walks in, and I'm like, hey, it's a good thing that we didn't bet, because you'd be working till you were 90, bro. Like, you know, he's like, yeah, he's like, I don't even know what happened, man. He's like, you know, Chimaev, I don't know what happened, bro. And I was like, I could tell you what happened. Like, because I saw it coming, dude. Like, when this is why I wanted to do a show so badly last week, is because that fight, it had the vibes to me of Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 1. Even though the odds were not quite as bad, they had Hamzat as a 5-1 favorite, dude. Like, I'm sorry, but I felt like I was the only one who's seeing. We're talking about the Hamzat Chimaev versus Strickland fight. Specifically right now, we're talking about the odds, how lopsided the odds were. And I felt like, am I the only one who sees how close this fight actually is on paper? Like, you know, there was so many people riding the Hamzat train, dude, like drinking the Kool-Aid, and like 5-1, bro. Like, even if you think Hamzat's going to win, like 5-1 odds, bro. Like,
hey,
that's
no. We just got your comment up. Whatever you're doing there, Motown Mitch, that's how you need to do it. Because we haven't seen your comments for a while.
Yeah. How's it going, bro? but yeah, dude, like the odds were the first thing that like kind of pushed me to where I was like, this just doesn't seem right. And it wasn't even so much like, so I thought Strickland had a chance because of his takedown defense, right? Like I thought that gives him a chance in this fight. And you'll remember weeks and weeks ago, you and I were talking about it, and I said Strickland is this division's only hope. Like if Strickland does not beat Khamzat, nobody's beating Khamzat, right? Like I said that. I said if Strickland doesn't beat Khamzat, he's going on a long run, right? So when I saw the odds, that's what really like threw me off. I was like, dude, like he's just getting no respect, right? And the odds were so lopsided in my opinion that I was like, dude, this is ripe for an upset. Like Vegas they know what they're doing here, dude. They're drawing all this money in on Khamzat. Something fucky is gonna happen, dude. Like, you know, and I want to be clear. I'm not saying that the fight was fixed or anything. Like, I thought it was a good fight, and you know, I thought Strickland pulled it out.
Well,
go ahead.
Don't forget too that Hamza had a major weight cut that he had to do to make weight for this.
And we're gonna get into that. But first, I wanted to talk about the odds.
I'm tying it. Yeah, that's what I'm tying in with the odds. Is I think that they had a bit of inside information with that, and that's kind of why you saw him balloon a bit towards the end.
But why would they make Khamzat a bigger favorite when he's having trouble with the weight cut?
To draw all
that I see what you're saying. To draw all that extra money in. I mean, it's plausible. You know, Vegas certainly doesn't have any scruples. But yeah, so let's talk about the actual fight. Like the odds being what they were, I felt that it was ridiculous that the odds were as high as they were against Strickland. But the fight itself, like it was an interesting fight, right? Like it wasn't what we expected in some ways, and then it was what we expected in some ways, right? Like we expected we expected an absolute war, a bloodbath, right? Because these two allegedly hate each other so much. And then they come out and they touch gloves before the fight, and they're touching gloves before every round. And
shit, that's awesome.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, dude, they're touching gloves before every round, and it's like by about the second round, you're like, okay, they suckered us in. Like, you know, they were buddies this whole time.
I don't know if they were necessarily buddies, but I would say that they definitely ramped up their hatred. I don't think that they like each other, but I think that was kind of more of a competitive not liking each other.
Maybe so. To me, it seems like to me, it seemed like they knew what they were doing. They hyped up the fight. They sold the fight, and good on them, because the more you sell the fight, the more money you make, right? Like,
oh, absolutely.
So they were the main event. It's a title fight.
Yeah, Hazmat there had said that this was the most money he's ever made for a fight.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So, like, you get more money. He got his career payday. The weight cut did make a big difference in the fight, I think, because Khamzat originally was supposed to. There was talks that he was going to fight Yuri Prohashka at 205. So Khamzat was not cutting because he's expecting that he's going to fight Yuri, right? Then all of a sudden the Yuri fight falls through, and they're like, "Hey, we need you to fight Strickland in 2 months." And it's like, so now he's got to cut 45 pounds.
Are we gonna say? Well, yeah, we'll touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But so Khamzat, like, he has to cut 45 pounds, dude, and he didn't make weight. Like the commission actually, this is bad, a bad look for the UFC, right? Because that scale was rattling, dude. And they said 185. And it's like, no, that's not 185, bro. Nice try.
Well,
But
that was when they were making sure that fight didn't get canceled or any of the shine was taken off of it for any reason.
yeah, but I mean, 185 is 185, bro. They took Charles's belt for a half a pound. You know, Charles Oliveira missed weight by a half a pound, and the scale was off. Like the scale that the commission gave him, the scale that the commission gave him to check his weight before he goes to the official weigh-in was off by a half a pound. So he thought he made it. He goes in there, he weighs in, he's a half a pound off, and they took his belt.
Mm-hmm.
But meanwhile, Hamzat, he was more than a half a pound off, because that a half a pound doesn't make it go bing, 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 bing. He was pounds off, dude. Like, so, you know, it is what it is. Like,
well, as you've seen too, right after the fight, he's already talked to Dana about he's moving up a weight class now.
Well, okay, yeah, he did say that. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
But then, like 2 days later, he dropped either it was like an Instagram or something on a tweet that said basically he wants Strickland again. He wants a rematch without the terrible weight cut this time. Like, you know, he's basically saying that the whole Yuri Prohashka thing like fucked him over. And there's some validity to that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like cutting 45 pounds in 2 months is insane, bro. That's insane, you know? Especially when, you know, because you're not going to cut 45 pounds. You're not going to cut 45 pounds like steadily over the 2 months, right? Like it's like you're going to lose like 25 pounds over the first month and a half, and then you're going to cut the final 20 in fight week. You know what I mean? Like that's generally how people do it. Is they don't want to cut the whole camp, because then you're weak. You can't really train, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they cut the final, like after the training is put in, they cut the final 20 pounds, 15, 20 pounds. So, you know, there's some validity to it. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch, especially if Hamzat is able to have a full camp where he can, you know, cut weight properly and stuff. That would be interesting, because the first round was absolutely dominant for Hamzat, dude.
Oh, yeah. After that first round, before Strickland went to his corner there, I'm thinking, holy shit, Strickland's going to be in for a rough freaking time. Now, granted, Strickland did absolutely outstanding defending that freaking choke, but I thought that one was a real rough one for him, and I thought that the rest of the night was going to go relatively just like that. But when he went to his corner and they said, this is exactly what we wanted, that it was the perfect round there, that's when it started to give me a little bit of a pause. And then when you seen him in the second round there, when Strickland was able to get the reversal in the scramble there and actually end up in the dominant position on him.
Yeah. See, that was my thing. When Strickland was walking back to the corner after the first round, I was thinking to myself the same thing that the corner was thinking. Like, Hamzat just gave you the best he had. He's never going to be fresher in this fight than that first round, and he couldn't finish him. So I was like, the farther this fight goes, the better it's going to be for Strickland. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie my ass off and act like I thought the next round was going to go the way it did, because I certainly didn't, right?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be more of the same. Like, I talked about it on Reddit, like in the Reddit MMA subreddit, like that if Strickland was able to take this fight into deep waters, he was probably going to be down 30-27 by the fourth round. You know, it was going to take like a late finish or a 10-8 round. Like, it was going to take something drastic, right? But that he could do it if he could gas Hamzat out enough from stuffing his takedowns or getting back up. Because stuffing takedowns, it saps energy. But what saps more energy is letting the guy use his energy to take you down and then just getting right back up.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like that, and that's what Strickland was doing. And But it was interesting after that second round, Hamzat really moved away from the wrestling and he was content to just try to box it out with Sean. It was like he wanted to go on his ground and fight him on his ground. I thought that was a very interesting strategy, but I don't think that it was necessarily Hamzat's strategy as much as when I was watching the fight, one thing I was watching was Strickland's feet because I wanted to see, is Strickland going to walk forward? Is he going to be backing up? But one thing I noticed, and I was thinking in my head, like, he's got to do this if he's going to be successful, is he has to keep his feet off that black line, dude. Like, every time his feet get to that black line, that's the danger zone where Hamzat can shoot him into the cage and then work on his takedowns. So if you go back and watch that fight again, you'll notice that when they're boxing, every time Strickland's foot, his back foot, gets within a foot of that black line, he pivots and goes, like, he turns to get an angle and take the center of the octagon back, right? Like he turns and then sidesteps, and now all of a sudden he's not on the black line anymore. You know, like, I thought he did a masterful job with his feet. I've seen Henry Cejudo and Kamaru Usman, they have their podcast, and they're after the fight, they're like, yeah, I rewatched the fight, and I think Hamzat won. Dustin Poirier, man, this pains me to say it too, because I love Dustin, man. Dustin's my boy, but Dustin is sounding real salty right now. Like, he put a lot of money on Hamzat, and because he's just like, no, I just don't get it. Like, Hamzat won, and like they sat down. It was Chris Weidman, Dustin, Jorge Masvidal, and Dean Thomas. They sat down all together and they watched that fifth round, and it was like every time Strickland would land a shot, like, Dustin wouldn't say nothing. But then, like, the second that Hamzat would land a jab, he's like, oh, see, look, he landed there. Oh, look, there's the takedown. Oh, Hamzat's winning this round, guys. Hamzat's winning this round. And I was just like, no, he's not. And everybody else was like, no, he's not. Like, he was winning the beginning of the round because he shot in early. He got a takedown early, right? But, yeah, dude, it pains me to say it, but Dustin was definitely biased in that fight, and
makes you wonder if him and Strickland have any kind of beef.
I think that Dustin probably doesn't like him because of the shit he says. Somebody on the YouTube comments said Dustin is a liberal, and that's why he doesn't like Strickland because of the political shit that Strickland says. If Dustin's a liberal, like that really sucks. It changes somewhat how I feel about him. Like, I love the guy as a fighter, but I expected him to be more objective than that. Like, you have your fight picks, right? And that's fine. We all have our fight picks. We all think this guy or this guy is going to win for this certain reason, right? But to deny what's right in front of your face, like, to purposely gloss over every shot Strickland lands, like, it's kind of like, come on, bro, your bias is showing, But anyway, did you feel that the right guy got the decision?
Yes. I agree with it being a very close fight, but I had that one scored 3-2. So it made perfect sense to me. I even wouldn't have been against it being a unanimous decision, but the split decision makes perfect sense because it was a very close fight.
Yeah, I thought a split decision was not only acceptable but warranted, considering how close the fight was. I think a unanimous decision, I wouldn't be against it, but I guess if it was a unanimous decision for Strickland, okay, I would be like, okay, all three judges saw it the same way, right? I like the fact that it was a split decision more because I think it more accurately reflects how close the fight was. I like that aspect of it. I like that there was one judge who saw the fifth round a different way and gave it to Hamzat. I wouldn't have been upset if Hamzat would have got the decision 3-2.
Mhm.
It was that close. Like it's basically pick your poison. Like what do you value more as a judge, right? Do you value the significant strike count? Do you value the takedowns and control time? That's basically what it comes down to, because Strickland significantly outstruck Hamzat by about 50 significant strikes over the course of the fight. But Hamzat had more control time, had a bunch of takedowns, although he wasn't really able to do a whole lot with the takedowns. So it just depends on what you score and how, you know what I mean? What do you look for as a judge? That said, are you open to seeing the rematch?
Absolutely. Especially if Hamzat has a normal weight cut with it. Because this was a damn good fight. Do not get me wrong. But you could see Hamzat gas out. Now, he did get his second win, but that had an effect on the performance.
Absolutely. In fact, the more I think about it, the more I believe that Hamzat's whole strategy, he knew he wasn't going to have 5-round cardio. I think he shot his load in that first round. Like he was like, I'm coming in there. If I can't get him in the first round, I'm basically fucked. So he put everything into that first round. And I don't know if he counted on the second wind or not, but he got one, which was it was good for the fight, right?
Yep.
It didn't allow Strickland to go downhill on him, you know? You get what I mean by that? Like by going downhill on him, it's like once Hamzat is gassed, it's like the momentum is all on Strickland. It's like that snowball rolling downhill, you know, just picking up steam. It didn't allow Strickland to do that. Like Hamzat's second wind kept it competitive for the rest of the fight. I would be down to see the rematch.
Oh,
I would honestly, I wouldn't mind seeing a trilogy, because I do think that if Hamzat has a good weight cut and a good camp, that he's going to win the next one. I think he'll work on, because when you spend 5 rounds in there with somebody, you start to figure out what they do, and you're going to start to figure out how to counter that, right? What do we know about Strickland? He's not changing his strategy, dude. Strickland is who he is at this point, right? Like he's going to come in and he's going to do the same thing he did in this fight, try to stuff the takedowns, try to outbox Hamzat, right? So the real wild card in this potential rematch is, what does Hamzat do differently? Does he say, fuck it, I'm just going to spam takedowns and not let this dude, I'm going to come in with insane wrestling cardio and just spam takedowns to where this dude doesn't even have a second to breathe, let alone throw a punch?
Yeah, I was going to say, I expect if he gets this weight cut, we'll see pretty much what was close to the first round. I don't think he's going to go all super crazy like he did with this first one, because you saying that about him not expecting it to be a 5-round fight makes a lot of sense in hindsight. But it's going to be real hard to give this next one to Strickland, even myself, and I like Strickland more as a fighter. Hamzat is an absolute freaking animal, though. I got a feeling that this next one we're going to see, he ain't going to do too much stand-up. That we are going to see that dry humping for 5 full minutes.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's why I asked that question. Do you think he just goes into full spam takedowns mode? Like, I think he does. And I think he gets the decision. And we'll see how Strickland handles it if that's what happens. Because one thing I wanted to point out is, like, Hamzat had this reputation of being the boogeyman and being like a scary guy and everything. But Hamzat, in my opinion, putting the belt on Strickland in after such a close fight, it showed Hamzat has a lot of class, man.
Yep. Yeah, like, that's one thing I will give him massive credit for, because we're used to seeing Hamzat play the heel. And him doing that gave me a lot of extra respect for the guy.
Absolutely, because it's one thing. Okay, if Strickland had 49-46 them or 50-45 them, right?
Mm-hmm.
It when you make that kind of a statement, okay, putting the belt on the guy makes sense, and it's like, it's still a classy move nonetheless. But
Yeah.
it's like, you're acknowledging, yeah, like this dude is a superior fighter. He put it on me, right? But in a fight that close, there are so many different ways that Hamzat could have reacted. But he chose the high road. He chose class in that moment. That to me, that speaks a lot about his character, right? Like the fact that he could have been pissed off, and I'm sure he was pissed off. Think about it, dude.
Oh,
Like
of course.
a fight that close and it doesn't go your way, the judges pick the other guy. There's got to be some hurt in there. It's you got to feel let down, disappointed, a little bit pissed. Like, nah, man, I won that fucking fight. But the fact that he like accepted it, he even clapped as soon as they announced it. He clapped for Strickland and then went and put the belt on him. Like it showed a lot of class. And I'm not sure that Strickland would have showed the same class if the decision had went the other way.
With the way he was talking after the fight, it wouldn't surprise me. Maybe not putting the belt on him, but I could see him clapping and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I'm saying putting the belt on him.
Yeah. That might be a step too far, but it wouldn't totally shock me either.
All right. I mean, I can't tell you you're wrong because we don't know, but we might get to find out in the next fight.
Well, you can't even say that because now Hazmat has already set the precedent. So if you don't put the belt on the guy after, you look like the asshole.
Yeah, that's true. But it doesn't seem to me like Strickland has a problem looking like the asshole.
No. I think he quite enjoys looking like the asshole.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting times. There was also the Joshua Van fight, which was really good. That Japanese kid is fucking tough, man. Tyra, he is fucking tough. I felt so bad for that kid, though. Like, it's like watching a murder in slow motion, dude. And you just like you want to stop the tape, but it's like you're in a room, you don't have access to the VCR, dude. You know what I mean? Or to the DVD player to stop the tape. It's like you want to throw in the towel for the kid, but his toughness just wouldn't let him quit, dude. And
I thought that fight
was
took
years off his career, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that you take an ass beating like that, it changes you in some ways, dude. So I don't know, man. But we have another card coming up next. I think next month is Pereira versus Cyril Gahn, right?
Let me check just to be sure.
Because when they were doing the press conferences, they were hyping up the next event too. They had Gahn and Pereira.
The next numbered event is Freedom 250.
Yeah, but then so then after that is Pereira and Gahn, right?
Yeah, let me see the exact date for it.
Or maybe it's at Freedom 250.
Yeah, no, it is at Freedom 250. It's the co-main.
Yeah, see, because there's that Freedom 250 card is fucking stacked, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It's not stacked it's not stacked as much as far as like contender fights, right? But they made this card specifically to have a bunch of bangers on it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like they want this to be like a showcase for the UFC. And so let's get into that card a little bit.
Yeah, shit. You're starting
actually first, hold on, because one of the viewers asked us to get into that Gina Carano Ronda Rousey card.
Oh,
I don't anticipate we're going to spend 15 minutes on that. So let's talk about that first. Does the Gina Carano Ronda Rousey fight move the needle for you?
You got to define what you mean by moving the needle for this one.
Well, it's being hyped by Ronda as like the greatest women's MMA fight of all time.
You miss me with that. It's an entertaining fight because they're both two big names. Like I've said, each and every time we've talked about it, if this would have happened 10, 15 years ago, I'd have been all over this like flies on shit. But now I'm just interested to see what happens because they're relatively at the same point. They're both way past their prime. And I want to see now how juicy Karana is. Or no, not Karana.
Yeah, I was gonna say Ronda.
Ronda is
bro.
who I meant. I stroked out there for a second. But yeah, after what you were saying there about how she looks, because I haven't seen the updated pictures of her yet. I want to see just how.
Bro, take a look real quick. Just go to YouTube and look at the last press conference they did for the fight, or look at the last promo that they did between her and Gina, like where they're hyping up the fight. Just look at her neck and shoulders, dude. Like, yeah.
I didn't even see the freaking video. Holy shit! She got a neck like a tree trunk.
Bro, she's fucking juiced to the gills, bro. Ronda is juiced up, and I mean, more power to her. If they're not going to test, like, I don't condone cheating, but you know, she's.
I was going to say, as long as both fighters have access to the same exact thing. By that, I mean, as long as they're both allowed to do it, I don't have an issue. I just want it straight across the board type of thing. Now, if Gina chooses not to, that's her own freaking.
Gina's, yeah, I think Gina chooses not to because she doesn't want to look like a dude. Ronda is starting to look very mannish.
Yeah, I'll definitely give you that. Where Gina there has a decent Hollywood career that she's got to take care of. Mm-hmm. Where Ronda, I think she's only had like appearances in a couple of things.
Yeah, and her WWE career is over. So this is Ronda's kind of last ticket, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, this is her last chance at relevance. She's going to win a fight and then hopefully springboard it into some more acting stuff or, you know, something. I don't know. I mean, I doubt she's going to pick up a brand new second fighting career. This seems more like a one-off to me. I'm not very intrigued by the fight personally. I'll watch it probably if I don't have anything better to do. Like, that's how little it moves the needle for me.
I was going to say, don't forget that you got Nate Diaz on the undercard and Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, I'm going to watch the Nate Diaz-Mike Perry fight because that's going to be fireworks. Like, that's going to be – I'm scared for Nate. Like, no, really, like, I think if it goes to the ground, Nate is going to win. His jiu-jitsu is fantastic. Mike Perry, not so much. But Mike Perry on the feet is dangerous. He's got elbows. He's got really sharp elbows. He's got punching power for days. I just fear that the fight is going to end on a doctor's stoppage because he's going to catch Nate in the eye and split open all that scar tissue. And the next thing you know, it's like Nate's eyelid is hanging off and they stop the fight. And Nate's going to be sitting there bitching about it like, dude, like, I didn't quit. Like, I fear that that's going to be the outcome. I hope not, though. I hope that Nate actually can, you know, stay in the fight and win. That would be great. You know, it would be great. I love watching Nate Diaz fight, win or lose, man. So.
Oh, yeah. He definitely puts on entertaining freaking fights.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. But, yeah, the whole card doesn't really – Nate Diaz moves the needle for me somewhat.
I'm interested in seeing Francis Ngannou again.
Yeah, I mean, that's cool. If I happen to like turn it on and his fight is on, I'll watch it. I'm not gonna like set it aside on my schedule or anything. Like, I like Francis, but he's fighting a fucking nobody. He's fighting a nobody, bro. Like, you know.
Well, then that means we get to watch him absolutely demolish a person. And I mean, I'm okay with watching that.
It's a
What
shame.
I was gonna say that this card is a sideshow card anyway.
Yeah, it's a novelty card, bro. I like that's why I'm like sitting here. Ronda Rousey is talking all this crazy shit about how this new fight league or whatever is gonna like revolutionize MMA. UFC has a monopoly, and they're here to break that monopoly. It's like it's fascinating talk, but that's all it is, dude. Like you're not gonna beat UFC with a bunch of over the hill washed up fighters, even if they are getting paid more money. Like you're not gonna. I'm sorry. Like you're
Oh,
not gonna beat
I was gonna
UFC.
say the only thing that I hope out of this is it forces the UFC to pay the fighters better, because not only are you seeing them paying their fighters well, but even as much as I hate him, Jake Paul with all his events, he paid those fighters well.
Yeah, and that's one thing that gave me some small modicum of respect for Jake Paul. That and him having the balls to get in the ring with Anthony Joshua. Like,
Mhm.
yeah, I again doesn't move the needle for me, dude. I'm not a Cena fan. I stopped watching wrestling shortly after the Attitude Era, like, early 2000s, like 2002, 2003. I think that was it for me, dude. Um,
Yeah, I stopped about 2006 or 7.
yeah, it was just I don't know. For me, it was I just outgrew it, and like the golden days of The Rock and Stone Cold and everything was over, and they were trying to bring these new guys like Randy Orton and everybody in, and the one constant, well, the two constants was the Undertaker and Triple H,
Yep.
and the game. I much respect to the game, dude. Even Randy Orton, like Randy Orton has had a very very good career. But by the time it hit John Cena and the spinning belt, I was just like, okay, this shit is getting whacked, dude. Like, I was honestly like, when I would see it, I'd be like, man, I'm glad I don't watch this shit anymore.
We're talking about UFC, but we do touch on boxing here and there when there's major events of it.
Yeah, this is an MMA show, but if there's a major boxing thing, we might get into it. But right now, let's finish up the show talking about this White House card, because this White House card is stacked, bro.
Yeah.
Hey, what I just got to know, what does Cranty Roblox mean? I know what Roblox is. It's a game my kids play, but what is Cranty? Is that your name? Is that like your Roblox handle or something?
That would be what I would assume. But for UFC Freedom 250, you start out with Diego Lopez versus Steve Garcia.
Yeah, this is good. This is going to be a banger, but it's Garcia doesn't really. Oh, okay. Garcia doesn't really have a chin, but he's got good power. Whereas Diego Lopez has a fucking titanium chin. And so this is, for me, this is a fight. Look, I hate to say it this way because I like Diego Lopez, but I actually hope he loses this fight.
Really?
Yeah. Because think about it. If he wins, guess what we're going to be seeing? Volkanovski versus Lopez 3. And it's like, I don't need to see that fight again, dude. Volkanovski has already dominated him, 50-45'd him twice, bro. Like, how many more times do we need to see Volkanovski whoop this dude? Like, he just doesn't have the athleticism that's needed to beat Volkanovski. Until Volk retires, Diego Lopez is not going to be a champ. Now he might be a champ someday.
Yeah, pretty much you're looking at him as like the gatekeeper.
If he keeps fighting the way, like, he's basically being relegated, he's being forced into that role of a gatekeeper, because how many title shots can you get, bro? Like, against the same champ, Like, but see, that's the problem for Diego Lopez, is he's not really a gatekeeper. He's a top contender. He'll go lose to Volkanovski, but then when they match him against the top 5 guy, he'll beat the top 5 guy. So now it's like, what do? We have to give him another title shot. So he goes and he gets 50-45 again, and then like they go down, like he'll fight down the rankings again. He'll beat that guy, and it's like, so he's good enough to beat all the top contenders. He's just not good enough to beat Volkanovski. So.
Yeah. And just to answer their question real quick is we do actually do football podcasts too. We have the morning show that is 11 to noon Eastern, and then we have an afternoon show from 1 to 2 Eastern.
Yeah. Okay. But, yeah, for me, I just would rather see somebody else fight for the belt. You know, I wouldn't mind seeing Diego Lopez fight Yair Rodriguez, though.
Hey, why? Thank you.
I wouldn't mind seeing him fight Yair, though. That would be an interesting fight. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I expect Diego Lopez to win, but I hope he doesn't, just for the sake of the featherweight division.
Yeah, see, Diego Lopez is one of the fighters that I really like, and I'd love to see him win, just to get him propped up a little more. But like you said, Volk's got his number. I don't necessarily want to watch him just sit there and get his face beat in for 5 freaking rounds again.
Just get danced around. Like, that's what Volk does. It's like, he just point fights him, you know? And Lopez isn't fast enough to connect with anything major, you know, anything to actually rock Volk. It comes down to, remember before the first time they fought? What did I say? I said, the only way Diego wins this fight is if Volk gets old overnight. Like, Volk has to, like, lose his timing and his speed overnight.
We're going to say that's what the UFC is banking on. That's why they just keep giving him the same fight over and over. One of these times it's going to happen.
I guess if that's what they're, that's what they're pinning their hopes on. But there's other contenders, I don't think they'll fare much better against Volk, though. If I'm being honest, John Silva, he already lost to Diego Lopez, although he was winning that fight until he got caught with that spinning elbow. He was beating the brakes off Diego, and then all of a sudden that spinning elbow landed, and that was it. But speaking of the fighting nerds, so the next fight, I don't know if it's the next fight on the card, but Mauricio Hufi is fighting Michael Chandler.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing that one.
So they asked Hufi at the press conference, are you, like, now that you're officially done with the fighting nerds, like, what is your approach, or what, you know what I mean? Are you officially done with the fighting nerds? And he said, yeah. He said, look, those guys are always going to be my friends. Like, I love those guys, but I just needed to do something different at this point in my career. I just needed, like, a different kind of training, So yeah, Hufi is officially done with the fighting nerds.
Cool. See, I didn't see that. Yeah. Are we going to start to see them fracture off more now? Because who was the member of the fighting nerds there that was backing them during the original spat of this?
It was Pratis, I think, or it was Pratis or Kaio.
I think it was Kaio.
Yeah, I think it was Kaio who was backing Hufi in that beef that he had with Silva, where it was like Silva was like, "Why are you going to train with the champion in my division? Like, why are you, like, that's bullshit." And he had a point, but I think that point was what made Hufi decide, like, you know what, like, I want to be able to train with who I want to train with. And if this is going to be an issue where I have to worry about you and the champion in your division, like, I'm not a featherweight. I'm a lightweight,
Yeah, that's where I side with Hufi on that one, because to me, like, I get it with the the whole, oh, you don't want your buddy training with your rival type of thing. But Hoofy's trying everything he can to get better. I have nothing against that. As long as he didn't give trade secrets away, that would be my only issue.
Yeah, I agree. But, I mean, it's MMA, bro. Like, these guys are very tribal and territorial, and I understand why Silva was upset. Me and my professor were talking about it, and I asked him, I was like, do you think that Silva and Hoofy will settle it in the cage, like in training at, like at their gym? And my professor just looked at me and he's like, Hoofy will kill Silva. That's all he said. He said, Hoofy kill Silva. And I was like, oh. So, yeah, I really like Hoofy. It sucks that he's leaving that he left the Fighting Nerds, but I'll still root for the guy. I think he has a really good chance of winning the title at 55 at some point, especially if Ilya goes to chase Islam. I think he has a shot, but he's fighting Michael Chandler, and no, I don't know who
Yeah, I
that
was
is.
gonna say that don't ring a bell to me either.
But if Hoofy goes, he's basically being set. The table is set for him, dude. Like Michael Chandler at this point, he has like 2 UFC wins, bro, and like 8 losses or something. Like he's lost to all the top guys at 55. It's like he's not even in the top 10 anymore. He's like, I don't know, 10, 12, 14. He's maybe not even in the top 15. Like, this is probably his last fight in the UFC, dude, if he loses. And I can't see him beating Hoofy. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Chandler myself.
Yeah, me neither. This fight is tailor-made for Hoofy to just knock Chandler out. And, but it just, I don't understand, like, what does this fight do for Hoofy, though? Like, it gets him on the White House card, okay. It gets him a paycheck, but it's not moving him up the rankings.
Well, unless he has a dominant performance. If he ends up with a good dominant performance, he should be able to at least move up a bit.
Can you check the 55 rankings real quick?
Yeah, I'll check that here in a second. But what I think a major thing of it is the insane amount of publicity that is going to come from this event and being one of the fighters on this card. I think this might be more to grow his fan base, especially with him splitting off from the Fighting Nerds. Now we'll get Hoofy his full own fan base type of thing. I'm speculating here of why it could be a reason for him, but I think that's a decent idea for it.
Yeah, and Chandler is a known name, right? It's a good scalp to have as far as name, and it's a very winnable fight because Chandler is well past his expiration date, well past his best buy date. But I just don't know what it does for him in the division. Like, Hoofy's already in the top 10. He should be.
He's 10.
He's 10, and Chandler is what?
Chandler's 13.
So you're fighting down the rankings, and you just, like, you're coming off. What was Hoofy's last fight?
Against Fiziev.
Yeah, he just beat Fiziev and finished Fiziev, who nobody finishes Fiziev, right? Like, that, I don't know, man. Like, fighting down the rankings doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, that's why I think it's more publicity centered with it. Of you want to make sure you get out there in front of everybody, because this is a spot where you're going to get a bunch of casual fans watching this event.
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of eyeballs, that's for sure, dude. But let's talk about some of the other fights on the card. One of the fights that I'm looking forward to the most is that Derek Lewis Josh Hokett fight.
Absolutely, especially with the freaking performance that Hokett put on the last time.
Yeah, against Curtis Blades. But see, Derek Lewis is not Curtis Blades,
Yeah.
bro. Derek Lewis KO'd Curtis Blades with one punch, an uppercut. Like, I feel bad for Hokett in a way. Like, Derek Lewis is another fighter who he's well past his prime. You know, the fight is winnable for Hokett, but if he gets touched, he's going to sleep, dude. And I mean, he showed an incredible will against Curtis Blades, right? Like, because, dude, that fight was back and forth. It's not like Hokett dominated him. That fight was a fucking war. Every time you thought, just when you thought Hokett was going to put him away, Blades would land some crazy shot and fucking rock Hokett. And then, like, dude, that was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, dude.
Oh, absolutely. That was the most entertaining heavyweight fight that I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if I quite label it the best, but it was the most entertaining.
Most entertaining for sure. It was Rock'em Sock'em Robots. But that raises an issue, though, because you can't play Rock'em Sock'em Robots with Derek Lewis, dude. Like, so what is Hokett going to do? Is he going to wrestle him? Like, it's going to look – you get what I'm saying? Like, Hokett is kind of backed into a corner here because he's kind of forced – to go out there and play Rock'em Sock'em Robots, which is not in his interest because he's trying to build a name for himself. And he did that against Blades. He showed, like, he earned the respect of fans, right? Like, his shtick is super annoying. Super annoying. All this character play and everything, it's like, bro, I get it. And the poetry, like, I get it, bro. Like, you're trying to be memorable, but just go out there and fight. If your fights are memorable, people are going to remember you. You don't need the gimmicks, dude. But I get it. Like, the gimmicks put eyes on him.
Yep.
But his sound bites are terrible, though. It's like his poetry, like, it's like poetry, bro. He says this shit that rhymes, and it's like about, you know, how sweet his bathwater is, and it's like, no, literally, dude, on the last fucking card, he literally said that, like, how sweet his bathwater is, and, like, it was just like, it's very John Cena-ish, like when John Cena would come out and do those freestyles to no beat. It's what it's like.
See, that's probably the reason why I liked it. Because I freaking used to love the freaking old Thugonomics John Cena. Once you got to the, like, superhero versions, when I stopped caring. Yeah,
dude. No, like, the Thugonomics John Cena was funny. Like, I'll give him that, dude. Like, he was funny, right? But it's obviously a gimmick. And I you know, Hokett's, like, he's a talented fighter. But I think who are you going to pick in that fight? Are you picking Hokett?
Do I
see what I mean?
How are you going to say? I mean? Do I
want him to win? Yeah. You want him to win, but are you picking him in a rock?
The man with how are we going to say with the man with sledgehammers for fists? I don't know about that.
Are you picking him in a Rock'em Sock'em Robots fight against Derek Lewis? Like, it's hard to do, man. I'm not going to count him out.
Oh, yeah, because I'm going to hope that he can carry on that chin from the last time of he's just getting rocked and not going down.
Bro, having a chin at heavyweight doesn't matter, dude. Like, because it's like, it matters with the softer punches, but a heavyweight is 265 pounds. Just 265 pounds is more than enough to knock a guy out if it lands on your chin. You know, it's more than enough. You only need, like, 8 pounds of pressure on the chin or on to knock somebody out. So 265 pounds is more than enough. And they're not throwing with 265 because it's 265 plus their strength. So Derek Lewis is throwing somewhere around 700, dude. Like, you know what I mean? Because Francis Ngannou threw like 900. let's say Derek Lewis is like not Ngannou, but he's like 700,
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, do you think a chin is going to hold up to 700 pounds?
Not conducively. You're going to have to play jigsaw with it after, but do you not think no matter what, it's going to be one entertaining fight?
As long as it lasts. I don't see that fight. I don't see that fight getting out of the first round, dude.
Yeah, but the last whole kit fight we didn't think was going to make it very long either.
Yeah, I think that.
Granted, I know there's a difference between the competition, but I'm saying he's got a little bit more than a snowball's chance.
Yeah, but he's got to get out of the first round because Derek Lewis's knockout power goes down significantly when he's gassed, and his cardio has never really been his strong suit. So if I'm Hokit, I'm gonna shoot on him the whole first round and try to get him down and just tire him out, and then I'll take my chances with the Rock'em Sock'em after that. But you got to be perfect. You've got to have excellent head movement, foot movement. You cannot get caught by Derek Lewis in the first round, and that's going to be tough to do.
Mm-hmm. That's why I can't wait to see this fight.
Yeah, it's going to be a very compelling fight. Very compelling fight. And that's not all, right? But wait, there's more, right?
You got Sean O'Malley versus Zahabi.
Yeah, this one is another one that I think is set up for Sean. I mean, it is kind of striker versus, well, it's set up for Sean, but it should be an entertaining fight. There's more than that, though.
Oh, yeah. You got Alex Pereira and Cyril Gahn.
No, but there's more than 5 fights on the card, right?
Yeah.
There's like 7 or 8 fights on the card.
We passed over Bo Nickel and Kyle Dukas.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be interesting. But, Bo Nickel lost a lot of his shine when he got kneed and knocked out by Rainier de Ridder. And then we got Alex. Let's talk about that fight for the last couple minutes, and then we'll talk about it more next week because we only have a minute and a half to get into it. But your preliminary thoughts: who are you taking in that Alex versus Gahn fight?
I want to say Alex, but isn't this his first fight at heavyweight? That's kind of my issue there. Is I expect his power and even his speed to carry up, but you still kind of got to see it type of thing. And it's Cyril Gahn he's fighting. I want to see if Alex can get out of there with 2 eyeballs.
It's a legitimate question, dude. I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking how long before he eye pokes him. But, my preliminary, I'm rolling with Alex because I think his power carries up, his speed carries up. Gahn is a kickboxer, a natural kickboxer. He's not a wrestler, which plays right into Alex's, wheelhouse. Like, this is going to be a stand-up heavyweight fight. But Gahn is dangerous. Gahn is the best striker in the heavyweight division. So they're not doing Alex any favors. They didn't give him like a soft touch to the belt,
But it is unfortunately that time. We want to thank everybody for watching, and we will see y'all next week.